Hello ladies and gentlemen, in today's video I thought I'd answer a question that I've received a few times, and especially as of recent, with the surge of Welt Nova Flare and as well as M-Blade. Why is it that I kinda discredit most sustainless teams, and why I don't really consider them all that much? Right. Now, here's the reality. There is a couple teams, just a couple, that I do include sustainless performance in because they can at least achieve it consistently, and it's not that difficult for a more casual player to be able to play the team around this. These two teams would be Phanon, as with double action advancer, he's definitely going to be able to live for a few cycles if played correctly, and with Cyrene, he has a literal infinite ultimate where he just won't die, right? And then, of course, the team you see on your screen right now, the Break team, especially with Fireflies, her new Nova Flare, and her E2, giving her significantly more frequent turns. It's just very easy to constantly break enemies and delay them over and over, allowing you to live for multiple cycles without fear of death. Right. However, outside of these two teams specifically, I usually don't like considering sustainless performance when I'm recommending people information, vertical investment, how good a team is, when they're most likely a casual player. I bet you 99% of people who play this game don't bother playing it sustainless unless they have those two specific teams, because in any other team, it'd be really easy for you to die without M-Blade and without Welt. And even if you include units such as M-Blade and Welt, enemies do so much more damage these days that it ends up just not being enough for protecting your team. Quite often you'll notice that a lot of sustainless zero cycles these days trigger a Cassie global passive or require countless retries to get the right RNG, where one character isn't targeted too much to the point where they die before the team is able to clear, right? So, with all that being said, this is a big reason why I just don't like considering sustainless teams. Of course, I feel like as of recent, it's become much more of an agenda thing for people to use sustainless teams to push their agenda against other characters being bad or the character they like being good, and this is mostly due to Welt and his Nova Flare. He's technically considered zero cost, his E4 is 30% additional res pen, and at base he's already one of the strongest debuffers in the entirety of the game. So it's no surprise that people would agenda post with a character like this that can easily double a team's damage, while in comparison to, let's say, like Donhung PT, his buffs are purely single target and they are minuscule in comparison to Welt's. Right? However, I do value consistency and how convenient it is for the average player base and the majority of the people watching me, right? Because sure, a sustainless team does double the damage of their sustain variant, but for only one cycle. A sustain team can live for as many cycles as they want, unless your sustain is either poorly built or you're going against like Plight AA or something, right? So in this case scenario, sure, it's stronger for that one cycle, but over multiple cycles, when you really think about it, the sustain team is actually and technically stronger. And that's because zero cycles don't reward you anything in this game. There's just no reward, there's no incentive. MOC is 5 cycles given per team on average. Pure Fiction is 4 cycles. Apocalyptic Shadow, I believe, is like 4 or 5 cycles worth of AV as well. You kind of get the gist here, right? You just don't need to care about zero cycles as a more average player. If you want to go for zero cycles, and that's something you want to do to challenge yourself with sustainless teams, by all means go ahead if that's something you want to do. However, as a content creator, I just don't feel like being disingenuous and bringing up a certain team's sustainless performance knowing completely well that most people cannot replicate it. And this is mainly because enemies have just become so much stronger over time, dealing more and more damage, to the point where even some good characters for Sustainless, like Welt with his slows and Emblade with his taunt, even they struggle against a lot of enemies to keep a team alive for one cycle because of how hard hitting they are and how many mechanics enemies have these days, such as you hit this enemy a certain amount of times, now they're gonna act and attack you back, right? Or Lygas's fat bounce attack whenever you get rid of his 10 minions in that weird state that he's in. There's also other multitudes of enemies who have mechanics like this where they'll attack you for God knows whatever reason multiple times over, and then your team just kind of falls over and there's nothing you can do about it. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Do you think I should consider Sustainless teams more often? I really don't think so. Once again, unless you're in one of the couple exceptions, such as Break Firefly, and as well as Phanon, who can run infinite Sustainless, if it's not all that easily achievable, and it's pretty unrealistic for the majority of the player base, I just don't feel really like talking about it with my entire, community, right? Love you all. Hope you all have a great day. Hope you all have a great night. Peace out.